Hi everyone, I joined a swap on Emz Crafts swaps on Facebook. It was to make handmade items to fit inside a 7 by 5 inch by 3 inch deep box. But I think I'm going to end up having to do a slightly deeper box because the items I've made, some are quite raised up. So I'm going to show you what I made. This is the first one I made. A clock die. A Tim Holtz clock die. I sprayed it in all different colour browns. I won't go through every one because I'll be here for quite some time. So anyway, this is what I did with this. I painted it first with brown and then I went over it with a couple of different sprays. I used 2 clock dies and stuck one on top of the other, die cuts. And then I put some music paper in the middle, went around it with stickles in gold, and then I used the clock hands, and what I did with those was I used rub and buff on the hands and put it all together using a brad so that hands will move. So there's that one. So the next one I made is this one. I made this for my other swap as well, but because Emz liked it so much, Emz is my swap partner, I thought I'd make another one for her. So this one, I used the same thing. I painted it all with pink first, gave it 2 coats of pink, acrylic paint. Then I used a crackle, like medium over the top. Dried that off with the embossing gun, and then I went over it with white paint and it crackled. Then I cut out the letters using the Vintage Market, I think this says, by Tim Holtz, the die. And then what I did with that was I put glossy accents over the top of it, and then I put some stickles on top when the glossy accents had dried off. I used pearls to hang the hanging sign from the bracket. And then I put 4 little roses, Wild Orchid Craft roses on top then in pink. So there's that one. The next one I did was this one, frame. I cut it out twice using thin chipboard, and then I stuck them together to give it a bit of strength. Then I cut this out of hunky-dory piece of cards in brown and put that on the front of it, stuck that down, and then I did a spray of flowers here, cut out the leaves, that's the die cut leaves, and then I used like flowers from Wild Orchid Crafts, and then when I've done that I stickled it. So there's that one. So I hope you like these Emz. Then what I did, I made some art tiles. These are the art tiles. These are 2-inch square, I believe. Wooden tiles from Crafty Embleys, I think these are. And then the little 1-inch ones. So what I did with that one was I stamped a butterfly using a black stays on ink pad. Sorry, before that I stamped on the background and then went over it then with some white paint, and then when that was dry I stamped the butterfly image on top here, and then I used different colour ink pads, the colour box chalk ink pads, and went over that, and then when it was all dry I used triple embossing powder over that. So there's that one. This one I stamped a script in the background and did it exactly the same as the other tile. Painted it white first, stamped it with a script stamp, and then when that was dry went over it with a light coat of white paint. When that was dry then I stamped the lady image using a black stays on ink pad, and then I went over it with triple embossing powder. I went round the edges of these with gold rub and buff, and then there's 3 small little inchies. I stamped the images again with the black stays on ink pad, and used different colour chalk inks over the top. So there's the art tiles. The next one I did was cogs. Cut them out of thin chipboard twice and then stuck them together. I think I did. No, I didn't. This is one layer. Sorry about that. Painted them with white paint, then stamped cog stamp on all of them with a brown stays on ink pad. And then when that was dry, I went over it with triple embossing powder. So there's the cogs. And then I went around the outside then with gold rub and buff. Is that one? The next one I did is this clock. I used a lot of different sprays on this clock. And then what I did was I used Twinkling H20s, I think they're called, ink in blue. And I put that on and then sprayed it again with water so it ran a bit. But, you know, I did that so it would match the middle image here of the bird. And then I went over that with gold rub and buff when it was dry. Did a lovely spray of flowers here. Used die cuts for the leaves. And then when I put all that together I used a touch of stickles. So there's that one. I really like these clock die cuts. I think they look lovely with an image in the middle of them. So there's that one. Then I made some rolled flowers out of pink cardstock. Rolled them up with a quilling tool. And then I stuck them all down onto the card and then I used a little bit of stickles in just to pretty them up. So there's those ones. And then I also did them in brown as well. So these are pretty. Quite like these little die cuts. I'll show you the dies in a sec. So there's those ones. They're quite nice size flowers too. And then the dies I used for these, I think these are Marion dies. Is that one? They cut them out and then where the lines are here, that's where the cutting lines are. Mix them into like a spiral and then you just roll them up to make the flowers. There's that size and then there's that size. So you've got the two sizes together like that. And then last item I made is this little box here. It's quite stiff to open because it's a paper mache box. Painted it all in brown. Then I put some pretty paper on it with like a newspaper print it is. And then I put a Paris image there, little Eiffel Tower. And my friend made the spray because it's way too small for me. It's about 3 inches. And then she put a bow there and I stuck it on top of the box. So that's quite pretty. So there's the box, just like I didn't put any trim on it or anything. And then I stuck brown card at the bottom there to finish it off. So there's my swap Emz. I hope you like everything that I made. And it was a good fun swap as well. So thank you for watching. Please leave a comment.